Hello and welcome to Wine Festival Online. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. We're Susie and Peter. We're Masters of Wine, co-founders of Wine Festival Winchester, which this year has become Wine Festival Online.
It has indeed. Now, what have we got coming up? Okay, yes, a fantastic masterclass. This is a good one with Denbies and their rock star assistant winemaker, Andy Kershaw.
He's definitely a bit of a rock star, isn't he?
He sounds like a rock star.
Yeah, he does. Well, and he looks like a rock star, and he is a rock star, Andy Kershaw. So, but what I want to say is he might be a rock star, but he's got a very, very small tasting glass, as you'll notice in this video. He's a tall man, but he's got a very small tasting glass. I would like to start a campaign for Andy to get a bigger tasting glass.
I think he should. Yeah, absolutely.
Bigger glass for Andy.
Denbies is one of the oldest estates in England. We've done a lot of running around Denbies, haven't we?
The Bacchus Half, if any of you have seen that wonderful half marathon, it's actually quite slow. You do it in fancy dress and you have wine all the way around. It's absolutely brilliant. But sometimes when we see those drone shots of Denbies and those massive hills, we're there going, our heart's stopping because we're thinking we've run up that. We're going to run up it again.
Anyway, listen, never mind running. Andy has got some great wines. Now, he does get started quite quickly on the wines and he whips through them. So make sure you have got your wines ready. Get your whites out of the fridge. I think you've got two whites, a fizz and your fizz, white and fizz out the fridge, and a red. They're lovely wines, but he whips through them. So
he does whip through them sort of early on, but then afterwards, don't feel like you have to keep up with him. He sets quite a pace. There's a lovely last half of the video where he's going through. You sort of follow him on a tour through the winery mid-harvest, which is quite a treat.
Yeah.
There's lots of noises going on, but don't worry, it's absolutely fascinating. It's a brilliant Q&A when he's asked about climate change and all sorts of things. We even get the treat to see him in a lovely yellow cagoule towards the end. It's almost too much.
Let's just say a quick thank you to our sponsors, our headline sponsor particularly, Rathbones.
Yeah.
Don't forget that this video will be live afterwards, so you can catch up on it later. And of course, there is another masterclass coming just after this, so stay tuned.
There is indeed. Don't forget our competitions. We've got some wonderful prizes for competitions, tasting selfie competition and sharp eyes, I think it is, isn't it? The details are all on the website. Also, with the Denbies wines, there is, I believe, a lovely special offer. I think it's about 20% off when you buy 6 or more bottles after this. So do buy. There's some delicious wines in this masterclass.
Now, if you have any problems, or you're having any problems today viewing any of these videos, please just email hello@thewinefestival.co.uk or contact us via social media, and all the details for that are on our website.
So enjoy the Denbies masterclass.
Denbies Wine Estate, one of England's largest vineyards, is situated on the outskirts of Dorking in the heart of the Surrey Hills. Established in 1986, the vineyard has become a benchmark of winemaking excellence in this growth industry. Its south-facing slopes, chalky soil and microclimate make it ideal for creating international award-winning sparkling wines used in the traditional grape varieties. It also has an excellent reputation for producing a range of premium still wines. Denbies 17-bedroom vineyard hotel opened in the summer of 2019. Views overlooking the 265 acres of vines, North Downs Way and the iconic Box Hill set the scene for this hidden gem. The vineyard itself offers 7 miles of public footpath, which includes part of the North Downs Trail, making this a perfect destination for those seeking a tranquil stay. Denbies has been at the forefront of wine tourism in England since the estate opened, and as the reputation of English wine continues to grow, Wine tourism is an integral part of communicating this message loud and clear.
Hi, I'm Andy Kershaw, the Assistant Winemaker here at Denbies Wine Estate in Dorking. Prior to working at Denbies, I've worked around the world in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Italy and other parts of England, learning how to make wine, and the challenges of cool climate winemaking in England have seen me set up home in Dorking. So I live here with my family. It's a great place to grow grapes and it's a great place to live. Hello, we're here to taste the Rammore Hill 2018 from Denbies Wine Estate in Dorking. This is a wine made from 3 different grape varieties, Chardonnay, Bacchus and Pinot Gris, and we only make it in the best of years, of which 2018 was fantastic. I don't know if you remember, a very long, hot, dry summer, and we had the luxury here at Denbies to pick the grapes exactly when we wanted to, towards the end of October 2018. So nothing was decided by nature in terms of our picking dates, which it often is in England. We're trying to get the grapes in at the very last minute to avoid any frosts or any late rains, but 2018 was perfect. We could decide when the grapes were absolutely ripe and get the guys out there picking. So we'll have a little look at it. In the glass, it's a lovely golden, pale golden straw colour. Delicious, almost stony fruit characteristics, definitely peachy characteristics there as well. This wine was aged in oak barrels, second fill oak barrels for up to 9 months. The Chardonnay spent up to 9 months in that, and then it was bottled the following year. So spent a lot of time in oak, developing some really nice characteristics, and on the palate, you get a lovely long creamy finish. Which is supplied by the Chardonnay and definitely lent to by the oak as well. A delicious wine. Hi, we're here to taste the Flint Valley from Denbies Wine Estate in Dorking. This is a wine that we've been making at the estate since we first started making wine almost 30 years ago. It's a non-vintage blend of several grape varieties. The biggest proportion of the grapes comes from the Sable Blanc, which we grow just over my shoulder on Park East, a block called Park East. Really beautiful looking slope, and it produces really nice ripe Sable Blanc from the chalky slopes of there. And it's a great wine. Let's have a little look. Very pale in the glass, on the nose, quite ripe, citrusy flavours, citrusy characteristics, almost a hint of grapefruit there, and on the palate, very lingering citrusy flavours as well, but then also a slight finish of oak, and that comes from some very, very delicate oak aging towards the end of fermentation. Very, very brief, but you can definitely taste it on the palate there. A lovely wine. Hello, we're here to taste the Denbies Blanc de Noir 2013. Now this is one of the premium wines that we make at Denbies Wine Estate here in Dorking. 100% Pinot Noir, grown in our block called the Dell, which is, anybody who knows Dorking, one of the highest blocks on our estate. 100% hand-picked, very, very gently pressed and fermented off the skins for nearly 2 weeks. A delicious wine, as I say, that we only make in the very, very best of years. So 2013 was a great year for sparkling wine in England. We produced a decent-ish amount of it, and fortunately had the luxury of lying this on its lees in the bottle for 5 years before releasing in 2018. So on the nose, you get lovely soft summer fruits, strawberries, and the beauty about this wine is on the palate. That strawberry characteristic is carried through, but then you also get a lovely subtle, almost vanilla characteristic from the oak aging as well, and from the lees contacting bottle. As I say, it's been 5 years on the lees, so it's a wine that's almost 7 years in the making now, and we're coming towards the end of production. And from the winery's point of view, we'll be sad to see it go. It's been a lovely wine. Cheers. Hello, we're here to taste the Pinot Noir 2018 from Denbies Wine Estate here in Dorking in the Surrey Hills. As most people can remember, 2018 was a brilliant year. We had a really nice, long, warm spring, so the flowering in the vineyard was absolutely perfect. And then the long, hot summer meant that we could pick the grapes exactly where we wanted to. So we could almost make a minimal intervention wine that reflects the vineyard and where it's grown. This wine was picked 100% from our yew tree block, which is the block which is the furthest away from the winery, the highest point of the vineyard, and arguably the most beautiful. It looks down on Dorking, south-facing views and slopes. It's perfect, really lovely. So this wine in the glass, almost a pale crimson colour. On the nose, very, very generous summer fruit, so you're getting lovely cherry, raspberry characteristics coming through. And on the glass, those flavours deliver on the palate as well. Very, very fruit driven, and a lovely, lovely textured finish, which is lent to from the oak that it's been aged in for several months before bottling. A great wine. We're very pleased with it.
What would you say are the key differences between English winemaking at Denbies and other sparkling wines made in countries such as France, Italy, Spain?
Okay, well, there aren't necessarily differences. At Denbies and the English wine industry as a whole, we're trying to make premium wines with the best fruit that we've got. So we make our wines in a traditional method, which is the same as what we do in Champagne. So a double fermentation. Fermentation in tank or barrel, then fermentation in bottle, and then it's left for a minimum of 9 months and then released. So we're making it the same as Champagne. We're different to like the likes of Prosecco, which is just a single fermentation. But yeah, in terms of different, we're probably no different at all. We're trying to compete with the best sparkling producers in the world.
The benefits of buying English wine?
There are many. The most obvious important one is that you get a wine that reflects winemaking in England. So you have delicious flavours in the glass and on the nose, and generally speaking, slightly lower alcohols, which is what many people are looking for these days. You also have the benefit of less miles travelled from the vineyard to people's houses, so it's better for the environment. And you're also supporting a new industry within the English wine industry. So, yeah, many benefits.
Is wine vegan?
It is vegan. Many wines traditionally have used animal products for fining and in certain aspects of filtration. It's quite an old-fashioned way of doing it, and here we don't use any animal products. Yeah, so it's vegan.
So what would you say was the best English vintage in recent years?
Many people talk about 2003 and how amazing that was. It's a little bit before my time, and the wines from 2003 aren't really standing up anymore. Definitely, without any shadow of doubt, in the last 10 years, 2018 has been the best vintage. Brilliantly long hot summer. We had the luxury of picking when we wanted, as opposed to when nature wanted us to pick. And the result is wines that are tasting brilliant now, but are going to last through for another 5 or 10 years. So definitely 2018.
Is the impact of climate change and weather variability?
There's two approaches to this. So generally speaking, over the last 10 years, the vineyard here at Denbies has been warming up by about 30 to 50 degrees every year, which is excellent in the sense that we get riper fruit quicker. The opposite side to that is that you have more ballistic weather patterns. So you have things like frosts quite early on in the ripening season, which can cause all sorts of problems. We haven't had it here yet, but certainly in mid-France we experience hailstorms, which can be devastating. So it's a double-edged sword. Excellent for ripening, but also incredibly worrying. So we'll see what happens in the future. Hello, we're on the crush pad here at Denbies. It's late October and we've just finished harvest. It's difficult to imagine it now, but for the last month this has been the hive of activity. So grapes coming in from the estate and grapes from all around the southeast and a little bit from the southwest of England as well. All coming onto the crush pad and being put in these 2 presses which we have here. So this is a maximum of 8-ton capacity press, which can do machine picked fruit, but then also about 2 tons of premium hand picked fruit, which we use for sparkling and our premium wines. 2020 has been a bit of a challenging year, but a really fruitful year as well. So there was quite a heavy frost at the start of the year, start of the season in May, which we were a little bit worried about. We lost quite a lot of the fruit, but fortunately the really nice long extended summer that we've had has seen some brilliant grapes coming in over the last month. So superb Chardonnay, superb Pinot Noirs, and we're absolutely delighted with it. Already we've got wines that are finished. The Bacchus is looking particularly good. Solaris, which is becoming ever more popular in the UK, is starting to look brilliant as well. So we might do a single release of that this year. And then over the last couple of weeks has seen our premium Chardonnay and Pinot Noir coming in, and they're looking superb as well. So it's going to be quite an exciting year. The end of harvest is a brilliant time to be in the winery. So we've got all the lovely ferment smells coming through, and it's a pleasure to be here. These are the ferments that I was talking about, some of the wines from 2020. So you'll notice how it's different to the wine that you're drinking in our bottles, in that it's very cloudy and quite a dense sort of colour. That's because there's a lot of yeast in there, which is converting the sugar into alcohol. And also dissolved gases. So on the palate it's quite fizzy. Even though this is going to be they're both probably going to be still wines, there's still a lot of gas in there, which essentially makes it feel a bit like a sparkling at the moment. As I said, this is probably or hopefully going to be our first still Chardonnay in bottle for a long time. So we're very excited about this one. And this is our still Pinot Noir from the yew tree field, which is the younger sister, I suppose, to our 2018, which is in the tasting case. So we were excited about both of these. This is the main part of the cellar at Denbies, and it's a great place to be because you get to see pretty much the range of tanks that we've got in the winery. So we've got 5,000 litre tanks, and they're used without temperature control to store some of our bigger bulk finished wines, right through to very small tanks which can accommodate a couple of 100 litres. The beauty of a lot of these are that they've got temperature control. So when we're wanting to keep the aromatics of some of the wines that we want to use for fresh, fruity wines, finished wines, we can control the temperature, and throughout the night when we're not here, we can keep them at the temperature which allows the aromatics to maintain right through fermentation and into the finished bottle. You can also see barrels, of which we've got at the moment about 65 at Denbies, and they're used for our premium white and red wines. Not everyone, but a lot of them see a little bit of oak, not just for the oaky flavour, but also to give mouthfeel and texture. A lot of people think or imagine that winemaking is about standing around and drinking wine all day. Unfortunately, not a lot of that goes on, but what does happen is that we need to taste every single ferment every day, which, when you've got a lot of barrels and tanks, you've got to taste a lot of different ferments. This is a white Pinot Noir, so a white wine made from red grapes. And at this stage, it's quite early on in the ferment, we're looking for nice, fresh, delicious flavours, which this certainly has. So I'm here in the warehouse now at Denbies. Many of the wines that you're drinking today or two of the wines that you're drinking today are from 2018, and they're ready to drink. They're designed to be drank within a couple of years of being made. Some of the wines that we make, particularly sparklings, are designed to be made and drunk a little bit later on. So behind me is the 2018 White Downs Rosé, which is a brilliant wine. We're very excited about it, but it's not ready to be drunk yet. It's sat on its lees, developing in bottle, and it'll be released in a couple of years' time. So at Denbies we combine old world and new world winemaking techniques. This is very much new world, so this is a gyropalette, and it replaces the ancient art of manually riddling bottles to remove yeast from the bottles before you sell them. So here we've got 500 bottles in a cage, and we can do up to 4,000 bottles at a time. The process of going from horizontal to vertical takes 7 days, and at which point the yeast can be removed from the bottle. The bottle can be packaged up and ready to be served and enjoyed. I hope you've enjoyed seeing a bit of what we do here at Denbies, and I really hope you've enjoyed tasting the wines. It's coming towards the end of harvest. I've got to get back to work.